Roll call, Ann and I are here. We're waiting for Tim. We are welcoming Ann to her first meeting, which is really great to have a third commissioner again. You're replacing Carl Hansen, so the bar is pretty high.
It is.
You can act like Carl just a little bit, because he was really sweet.
I can do that.
Okay.
Right.
Pretty neat time to be on the Public Utilities Commission. We're really facing a real situation here with our energy sources and trying to get the carbon out of our electricity supply. And the city is currently doing a climate action plan, which is really looking at drastically reducing the carbon content of our electricity. And so how we go about that in a economically reasonable way and yet an effective way is really going to be a big deal. And so kind of fun time to be on this commission, I think, and I hope you think so too.
I agree.
We have a consent agenda to approve. Do we always get the liquor store expenses on there?
Just lucky this time, I guess.
Yeah. I started to worry about the beer for resale and so forth. Was that just the inclusion of something in our packet that shouldn't have been?
I wondered that too.
Yeah, that, you don't even have to look at those.
Okay.
But other than those 2 pages, you probably do want to look at those other ones.
And was there anything in the bills, Mike, that caught your attention or that you thought was unusual or problematic in any way? Otherwise, they wouldn't be on there.
It's kind of a loaded question, yeah.
Okay.
It's supposed to be the other way around. Is there anything in there that caught your attention or was unusual? It's business as usual for us.
Okay. Very good. There was not. Would this be the point in the meeting where I would bring up an agenda addition? Or anybody would? I was wondering if it would be possible to not receive all the printed material at each meeting, and if the commissioners would be happy just to operate off their computers. Or I guess I would make that suggestion. And we used to do it that way, but then I think when Tina or Jan left, we started printing all the pages again.
No, we print them out because we stopped doing it and then everyone asked us for them, so we started again.
Everyone meaning Tim and Carl?
Yeah, and city councilors and planning commission members.
Okay.
If you don't want one, we don't have to print one out for you, no problem.
I mean, basically, you've sent out all this information electronically, right?
Yep.
Yeah, this is the exact same thing I got. I'd be happy to look at it on the computer to save the paper personally.
I would too. So let's ask Tim if and when he gets here, but
He generally likes a paper copy.
he does.
Yes. Were you hoping to be paperless PUC?
Yeah. We could vote him down.
No, you can't.
Why?
It's a matter of personal preference.
Oh, okay.
Well,
So-
if he has paper, we don't have to, though.
You don't have to.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Well, let's do that, Hayden. Let's just have,
All right, hand them over.
yeah. So for next time, just one copy for Tim. Okay.
No?
Huh?
I already wrote on mine.
Got it. Me too.
Okay.
Do you need somebody to move approval of the consent agenda,
I
George?
do, I think.
All right. So moved.
And I would second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, let's talk about AMI. And Jeff, is that why you're here today, or maybe Mike, you want to introduce that?
Yeah, I'll start with the
Okay.
first 2 things, and then Jeff will help us with the third one.
Okay.
You can see a couple of agreements in here, and they're both doubled up because they each have an attachment, which is another agreement. This is the contracts that we have with SIMPA that allow us to use third-party hosting and third-party operating to go with our AMI system. So just a little background for everybody who hasn't been involved in this or is watching at home. We have started installing meters in the field. We're in the process of changing over all of our meters from manual read meters to automatic read meters. The current technology for automatic read meters allows two-way communications, which means that we can also use this system to do load management, where in the past we've had receivers that we had a power line carrier signal where we sent a little blip out on the power line, and that didn't work very well, and now we'll be up and running with this.
And can you describe just a little bit about what load management is?
I will be happy to, but I'm going to go back to the hosting agreement first.
Okay.
The meters are automatically read at a time of our choosing once a month. So rather than taking a week to read meters, it takes 2 minutes instead, which is great. That means that our staff that used to be out in the field walking around will not have that on their list of duties anymore, and we'll be able to have them do, well, more productive work. You know, something a little more akin to what their skills and capabilities are, rather than walking around and note meter readings.
But fighting dogs and so forth.
Yeah, and all that entails. But that creates a lot of digital data. This is great because it used to be all that data was written on paper, had to be given to another person who then had to digitize it. We've skipped 2 big steps now in order to get that data digital. We're having one more step skipped here where we're actually going to have a third-party host that data for us, so we don't have to have a server with the software capable of doing all that data processing. It'll be done off-site. That was our plan all along. We talked to a couple of different vendors about how we might do that. Talked to Arrowhead about whether there was any sense in us doing it together with them.
Right.
And in the end, we decided we would work with SIMPA, who we're members of, and they're partnering with Missouri River Energy Services, which is another large conglomerate of utilities. They already provide this hosting service to a number of their members. They've offered to do that with SIMPA as well. So the first agreement is our agreement with SIMPA that says we're going to do this with them, and then SIMPA's agreement with Marais, which is attached to it.
And are there any other SIMPA communities that have kind of gone this far in working with
Lake City
Missouri?
Was also doing this. I don't know if they've gone this far or not, but those are the 2 that were a part of what we're calling pilots to work with Missouri River Energy Services.
And who's the contact at SIMPA? Is it
Chris.
Okay. And what's he's kind of thinking this is working well so far?
Well, they don't have a lot of involvement yet,
Okay.
Strangely enough. They kind of just put the people together, and we work directly with a contact at Missouri River Energy Services.
MRES.
Yeah, for what we're doing.
So how will the third-party data get into the form of bills to go to the customers?
Well, we have access to it.
Oh, okay.
So there's that, and that's how we're doing it now. We're going to talk a little bit later about doing it a different way. One of the other things that we do with our billing right now is through SIMPA, we work with a company called Enterlite to publish bills in a specific format that gives usage information and compares your usage to other people, and it's a psychological ploy to try and get people to use less power, which they've measured actually works, and so we get some credit for savings in our conservation improvement program for going through that. And so some of the bills get printed that way, and some bills get printed through our system manually. And so we've been farming this data off to Enterlite, where they produce these bills, and then they send us back a file of all the bills, and then we print them out and fold them and mail them out. And in a minute we'll talk about not doing that anymore. So I hope you will be willing to approve this hosting agreement. Then the demand response agreement is next. Because the meters use wireless mesh network communication, they actually just build their own network to talk back to the collection systems. You can put other things on that network as well. So the low control receivers also use this wireless mesh network. We have the ability to send signals out to them to control people's electricity. So what programs are we doing that with? We do off-peak and dual fuel heat, so folks that have electric heat and have either a backup system or storage can get a reduced rate on the electricity they use for that heat if they sign up for this program. So it's supposed to be a benefit to them and to the system. The benefit we get system-wide is that when we're able to shave our peak down, we actually spend less money. We're charged a monthly bill that includes a charge for whatever our highest amount of usage was during that month. So the more we're able to control that, the more savings there is system-wide that everybody benefits from. And then because we're offering a lower rate to those folks, that's their benefit. And hopefully then it is enough to pay for whatever they need to do to their system in order for it to be capable of being controlled.
Mhm. And the idea is they're using power at night mainly when
Off-peak is on a timing system. You know, we can control what that timing system is. I think it's 11 to 7 right now where we're allowing heat to run, and then 7 to 11 where we're not allowing heat to run if you're on off-peak. Then that's not a perfect match with what our actual billing is with Simpler in terms of what peak means. So we've got some flexibility in designing that way we want, but this is just kind of brand new for us. It's been a number of years since our system's been functioning.
Yeah, and that was my question. What has been going on with those? Have we even offered an off-peak rate?
We've been not offering these for new customers for a little while now. For folks that had already had this systems installed, we've been allowing it to continue while we get up to speed with this again.
And so basically, people have been getting off-peak rates, but we're not sure when they were actually using electricity.
Right.
Okay.
So now we've had 24 low control receivers that we've put back out into the field. We've gone through all the work to get up and running. It's not quite there yet. Still some bugs to work out. That was kind of our last, once we got that up and running, we were going to move on to the next step, which was to ask for authorization to get the rest of the meters purchased, which I'll talk about in a second. So the demand response agreement works the same way. It's hosted by Marais. They will have the software that controls everything at their site. They'll have access to the network, and they'll run the programs either stock the way they do for anybody else, or if we want them to make changes to that, they can do that as well. We also have access to that system. We have the same software, so we can control things directly ourselves manually, or we can set up programs if we want to do it. But it's nice to have the backbone of that system run somewhere else. This isn't a big office, and so to have a significant IT presence isn't going to happen. And having somebody that's got that, that's backing us up and running these systems is really a great benefit to us.
Is there any other opportunity to use that besides dual fuel and off-peak?
We also have in the past, and I think we'll continue to offer water heater controls, but we have to kind of figure out what we want to do policy-wise there. And I don't know that there's any limits on how we can use it as long as it creates savings for us on a monthly basis and offers something that customers are interested in signing up for. So we've already had somebody come in and say, hey, I want to run my electric kilns in the middle of the night. Can you sign me up for off-peak for that? And well, maybe we can, yeah. So we'll have to take a look at that. Again, it's supposed to be a benefit to both us and the customers. It's all voluntary, where customers have to decide for themselves they want to take part in it. And it's nice to have it up and running again. So for this pilot, these 24 first ones, we picked folks that were in the same area that we installed the first 100 AMI meters so that the network was all kind of functioning. Well, I don't know how many of them, Jeff, actually were ready to go without any work on our end. Quite a few of them needed some electrician work to make sure that they were up and running.
Yeah, I think the majority of them were pretty simple. I don't think you can get any less work done to it. Just other than taking it off, the wall and putting it on, and then the 2 wires. So they didn't have to do any internal stuff, but.
So we picked customers that were previously signed up when we were using our earlier technology in the hopes that we take the signal receiver off and put the new one on and everything still works. As
But
we
it's
move-
nice also because we found a couple of them that had disconnected anyway. They'd gone in there and done their own thing.
Mhm.
So now we'll be able to tell when they do that through this automated meter reading system. When they start heating during the day and they're on off-peak, we'll know that something they've unhooked a wire or something.
Mhm.
So one of the things we want to do is, for everybody else that's on our system right now getting this reduced rate that we know isn't hooked up to anything, we want to discontinue that and only offer it when they're actually hooked up again. So I suspect that there's some people that are getting this rate that have no idea what it is,
Mhm.
that aren't operating load
Yeah.
control systems of any variety in their homes. And others have probably made changes, intentionally or not, that make the system not able to function anymore. So just, we want to have like a hard restart here for everybody else that's out there. Now we have a program again. We're interested in having as many people want to sign up as we can, but they need to actually go through the process of signing up with us again. So we'll be putting together some sort of campaign where we'll want to communicate with all of our existing customers with the rates, that if they want to continue on it, they're going to need to contact us and let us know that that's what they want, and then we'll need to actually inspect their system and install a new receiver.
And this is mostly for off-peak heat?
Off-peak heat, dual
Okay.
fuel, where they have a backup system. Now, dual fuel we might control during the middle of the day,
Okay.
but not every day, or we might control in the middle of the night. It's whenever we're contacted by SIMPA to say, you need to control now because our whole system is experiencing some kind of peak. And then we'll keep exploring with SIMPA and probably with Arrowhead and with Marais and anybody else who wants to talk to us about it, what other programs we can offer, as long as we're using that system.
At some point, might we have some incentives for people to switch over to electric heat, and particularly the off-peak?
Well, the rate's a pretty big incentive, you know, it's significantly cheaper.
You could offer a rebate on the hardware, though, the actual heating.
Yeah, you could.
I was just thinking, because we were just talking climate action plan earlier today, and we were talking about incentives to electrify, more of our energy use, with the idea that if that becomes decarbonized, then that'll reduce total carbon emissions. So. Okay, well, this sounds great. Are you ready for, Jeff, did you have any?
You can approve the agreements and then we'll talk about some of the next step stuff.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. As chair, do I get to make motions too, or?
Sure. We're not
Okay,
picky.
I would make a motion that we approve the hosting agreement as written up here. And do you want separate motions here?
You can just do them both together if you want.
And the demand response agreement as well.
I second those motions.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So we talked a little bit about some of the next steps already, but maybe Jeff, you want to talk about getting more meters?
Well, we have the list here that we got for most of the meters that were, well, all of them. Probably an overestimate on some of them, because we don't know exactly what we have. We have never had a list of meters.
Mhm.
So we're going out and getting them, and it worked out good because now is meter reading time, so we have the water and sewer department, they're also getting, if it's an oddball meter, they're gonna come back with it. So
Okay.
hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have an exact list of everything we need. But this is the pretty close estimate what we're gonna need to finish our system.
Okay. That's a lot of money. That'll be a big improvement.
Yeah,
And can I just ask, what's the difference between the two batches of equipment listed here?
one is single phase and one is three phase.
Okay.
There's relays and load controls in there that Mike just talked about. The relays are, we need a lot less of those. Those will go and they can, like, every 3 blocks, 4 blocks.
Okay.
They're just helping the
The
create the
signal-
mesh network.
Sure.
Signal boosting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have CT meters, and also downtown is a big thing with the 12S meters, and that's the high estimate, because we don't know. Matt's gonna find out tomorrow when he finishes reading meters, so.
How many?
How many are in the downtown district?
Okay.
Yeah,
What's a CT meter?
CT meters where they're a unit that goes around the wire, and then it goes through smaller wires to the meter. So it's not running through the meter. Your power is not running through the meter.
It's used for larger loads. It's current transformer and not,
That's the CT part, current
Yeah.
transformer? Got it.
so they're just more complex than our standard. You can see the vast majority of our meters are what we're calling normal single phase. It's what
Yep.
you've probably got on the side of your house,
Mhm.
and most everybody else does. So that the ask here is to order 500 of those right now, and then spend the time doing what Jeff's talking about, getting our inventory up to speed so we know exactly how many of the not normal ones to order, and put the rest of the order together. And in the meantime, there's a pretty big lead time between when we place an order and when we're going to get these meters. So there's kind of a time of the essence idea to get started.
And do you have a sense of how long it takes to swap out each normal meter?
Well, we did, if we came to your house right now and you were
Mhm.
home, you'd shut your breaker off and it would take us less than 5 seconds.
Oh,
Put your brake back on, and then we program it with our handheld, 2 minutes,
oh, wow, okay.
and we can go. But if we can get a water and sewer guy to go with each of us,
Mhm.
we can get those meters. Maybe the guy can go ahead and talk to the people and, hey, get your breaker off, and we can just go up and down. So it could go fast.
Hmm.
The only problem is that when people aren't home, and you can't pull a meter under roads.
You're not supposed to anyway.
So then you'll have to put a check by there and come back. So,
Sure.
Could be, but I think we'll have no problem getting it done by November, almost the whole thing.
Mhm.
Might be a few 3-phase meters maybe that don't get quite done, but it should all work out good.
I would add that this is a project that, Mike, you've been working on for over a year maybe, huh?
Oh, probably a lot longer than that.
Yeah, Mike Taylor kind of started the ball rolling over a year ago. So, yeah, this is looking pretty good. I'm getting the feeling you guys are thinking this is going to be nice and a benefit for the city.
Well, once we started, now we're in a hurry
Mhm.
because we're operating 2 systems. And we
Mhm.
want to be done with that as soon as we can, knowing that as soon as we can is going to be, well, a long time, because we haven't even started talking about water meters yet. So,
Those will be interesting.
yeah, that's going to be a
Timing,
lot
so-
more complicated,
Okay.
because we have to actually get physically inside of everybody's building and do,
Oh.
some of them will be easy, but some of them will not. I don't know, if you think about how accessible your electric meter is versus your water
Mhm.
meter. Sometimes people don't even know what a water meter is. Sometimes they're under people's buildings. Sometimes
Sure.
it's going to be very interesting.
Okay, so the water meters are going to be remotely censored as well?
Yes, so the water meters will have a head that just fits on top of the brass meter itself with a much less powerful radio inside of it that's designed basically just to talk to your electric meter. And then it doesn't do very much of that. It does its own data collection about what's happening with usage and it has a battery in it that will, every once in a while, and we can program what that once in a while is, blurt out information to the electric meter, in which then we'll send it on the network back to, again, wherever we're doing our data collection. And the batteries inside of these units last, 10 plus years before we need to do something else with them. So that'll be good. That, we've got a lot more electric meters than water meters. So, and the electric meters are really what create the communication networks. That's why we wanted to start with those.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll be back to talk about water meters. So what do you think?
Well, I think that, like I said, I think it seems like a good deal for the city, and it's probably going to end up saving some money. Do you need any further resolutions?
Well, we want to spend $55,000 on meters,
Oh.
so yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
And that's just for the first,
That's the first 500.
500. Yeah.
Well, after the first 100 anyway.
yeah, I would make a motion to approve that purchase.
Yep, I would second that.
We're all in favor.
Do you want to say anything else about it while you're here, Jeff?
I can't think of anything. Oh, it's just a matter of getting the meters for now and getting them in.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you and Matt for kind of being at the forefront of, change is always, usually a little difficult, and
Yeah.
kind of good to have the city being at the front edge of this, I think. Okay. Should we talk about utility bill mailing?
Please.
My only question was, do you want to kind of describe what, that's way at the back here.
Well, what's included in the packet is a quote from, I talked about Enerlite earlier, the vendor that is currently publishing, or at least producing what the look of our bills are. And we asked them for a quote to just take over printing and mailing them too. And that's what's in here, there's a quote from them. What's also in here is our analysis about pricing, so.
Now, you say Interlite, but this is from Neon Link.
Yeah.
That's the same thing?
What, James Noble is the guy we've been working with at Enerlite. Who knows how many company names we're gonna end up going through with that, but it's the same group.
Okay.
Yeah. So just a quick analysis, and you can see that in the cost per bill, just what we spend on paper and ink is handling, so to speak, is quite a bit more than what we're going to spend having this outsourced, and so we're really quite pleased about the idea of doing that. This is another job where we end up taking, and we have an estimate of the number of hours that we've included in here to come up with the cost, but we end up taking a couple days out of a week each month where we've got 3 professional staff people folding and stuffing envelopes. And
Paper cuts, the whole.
and it's just not, there's
No, that
much
seems
more
great.
important things that I'd rather that they were doing, and they have the capability of doing.
So am I reading this correctly, is that you estimate that we would save 4.2 cents on every bill?
We will. Now, the important part there is a lot of that cost is our staff time, which isn't going to go down.
Right.
So, we can say we're saving 4 cents a bill. We're not actually going to reduce our expenses by 4 cents a bill because we're going to have our staff doing something else instead. So the cost that's allocated to providing these bills to our customers is going to go down 4 cents a bill, but our costs are going to go up a little bit. And this is part of our plan when we've been transitioning from the staffing that we had when Jan was still here, when Tina was still here, to where we're at now, with the idea that a lot of the functions that we did 10 years ago, we don't have to do in-house, that it's probably cheaper and better to have it done either automatically or by a service. So we're operating with quite a bit less administrative staff in the utility side of things, and this is one of our strategies to make that work.
Any opportunity for increasing the email or the electronic billing?
Unless we want to play hardball with it, probably not. I mean, we'll probably do some kind of marketing campaign to get people to think about doing it.
Do you do it now?
Electronic billing?
Yeah.
Yeah, people can sign up online and
Oh.
don't need to receive a bill from us.
Fairly small percentage,
Yeah. Yeah.
but quite a bit cheaper.
To not print and mail bills?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have
I
you
like their paper.
have you in the past done like incentive campaigns to get people to sign up for that?
Well, we do that on a kind of a every new customer basis. If
Okay.
people sign up for automatic payments and such,
Yeah.
then, we don't ask for a deposit.
I mean, people are getting more and more used to it, so it might be worth trying again
Mm-hmm.
at some point. Now with all the extra time that Hayden has, maybe he could do that.
Maybe you could.
Yeah. The only other thought I had was, I'm looking at all this paper and I'm just wondering if there could be, sustainable paper choices. Maybe unbleached paper, something like that. If that was available, might be worth looking into.
Yeah, I like that idea.
It's pretty cheap paper that we're using here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, is that something, who would look into that, Hayden or you? It might be more expensive. Brown paper might be more expensive.
I expect it is.
Might be less. You're sure of it?
I'd be willing to bet.
Okay, I'll bet you. And let us know next time if there is such a thing.
It's unbleached paper.
Well, just a more environmentally friendly, the most environmentally friendly paper and envelope,
It could be
combination.
that the paper is like less pristine and less fine, and it actually could be cheaper because
higher
it's
recycled
because it's
content,
not
whatever
as
you can
yeah.
do.
But
Just-
who knows?
It's not going to be cheaper. This paper is cheap.
Yeah.
Okay. And other than that, would you like a motion to approve this as well?
Sure would.
Okay.
So moved.
And I would second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks.
Wow, you guys are killing it today.
We've been saving up. We
Yeah.
haven't had a meeting with a full complement. Of course, you still don't, so.
Right.
Tim's missing out. Okay, so should we move on to Highway 61? And that's kind of too bad. Seems like that
I'm not
was that
particularly happy about it.
how much of a surprise was that? And where is Tom? Shouldn't Tom be here? Or that's not necessarily Tom, is it?
Well, most of those costs are in relation to designing water and sewer systems, but
Mhm.
it doesn't have anything to do with Tom, if that's the question. Like,
Yeah.
these costs are entirely related to LHB and MinDOT. So, it's frustrating. I don't think we should not pay them because they did the work. And so if there's any recourse that you want to have about this, it's, we're not going to work with you anymore. Not,
I mean, is it somewhat justified?
I am really disappointed. I think that if this was the first time they've ever done utility replacements on a state road, with MnDOT, then maybe they get surprised by some of the complexities of it. But I can't see any reason why that should have happened here.
Well, I guess I was wondering about the backstory since I haven't been involved, that it's like the total project, the additional services are actually more than the initial estimate?
Yeah.
I'm reading that properly?
Yep.
Yeah, and what was their justification? Is it in there?
It's
Maybe it's.
right on the cover page.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's research and mapping of the existing sewer and water mains that were not shown in the mapping provided by MnDOT. Coordination with the MPCA. Evaluation of proposed storm treatment options and plans and specs for temporary shutdown. Now, I mean, at a minimum, number 4 is just, I don't know what they thought they were going to do when we were going to dig up and replace a few blocks of water main that we wouldn't do temporary connection. So I don't understand why that is additional.
Well,
But the deal that we have with them, we pay them on a effort basis. We don't ask for a fixed price usually. Sometimes we do ask for a not to exceed price. But in this case, they only provided us an estimate. So, it's not.
so in the number 1 listing here, research and mapping that was not shown in the mapping provided by MnDOT, is that an issue that we would be able to take up with MnDOT at all? No.
MnDOT
Okay.
doesn't have any obligation to
Okay.
have maps of where our stuff
Okay.
is. So again, it's not sure I understand what the reasoning is. I don't think their explanation is particularly satisfying. But I know that they did the work that they're billing us for, so.
Okay, so it's your recommendation that we go ahead and pay that?
Would it be worth having or maybe you already had a conversation with them to get more specifics on this, or why, or?
I don't think they're going to be able to provide an explanation that's satisfactory.
Basically, this is what they spent doing the work.
Yeah.
This is their billable hours and
Yeah.
So they
the
way,
estimate.
so they way
sucked.
misestimated what,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Do you want a motion on that too?
On paying this bill,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making a recommendation on this, so they did this work,
Okay.
but it's pretty dissatisfying.
Have we worked with them before this project?
We've been working with them for a number of years.
Okay.
This is really the first time we've done a significant utility replacement with them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we've got a few more coming up. So there's, it does give me some pause about that.
Right?
But I haven't actually worked with the engineering company that I liked yet. So
Ah,
Did
it
you
might be a me problem.
Did you let them know that we were sadly surprised by the increase?
Yeah, but what?
That doesn't change it, right?
No.
Okay, well, I would make a motion to approve payment of this bill from LHB.
second,
All in favor, aye.
right?
Well, thank you, Mike. That's frustrating.
Still trying to figure out what the
Yeah.
best response to it is. And
Right.
we have other work we want them to get started on. So I might just need to have them come up with a plan for us that says this is how this isn't going to happen next time. And
I would
very
feel a
reasonable.
lot better as a new commissioner having that sort of conversation, or, hearing
Yeah.
about that, because that's a huge cost overrun.
Yes, tell them that our new commissioner
You blame it on me.
wants a much more careful estimate.
oh no, I'm going to
The
blame
next
it on
time.
them.
Tell them that all of the commissioners
Yeah.
would like a much more careful estimate in the future, and that we look forward to working with them on many other projects.
Yeah, they're engineers. That stuff doesn't matter.
The last page here is Keith Butcher. Maybe just jump to that real quick. Did you know that we have an energy efficiency specialist guy from SIMPA that comes to our community every couple of months?
I didn't, but I know that now. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's this letter on the last page is he gives us little summaries of what he's done in our community. It's about every 2 months that he visits.
I'm not sure I've observed a pattern.
Okay.
I'm sure he has one. I just haven't.
Yeah.
And he's willing to work with both commercial and individual?
He's
More commercial?
More focused on commercial.
Okay.
I think he'd be open to whatever ideas that we have, but this is one of the services SIMPA provides to its members. And again, we have an obligation to document some sort of savings in kilowatts used based on conservation programs.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the major piece of that for us, is that Keith comes and works.
So how do these happen? Does the city suggest to any given business that they work with Keith? Or do they say, hey, we want to save some money, how do we do it? Or
Yes and yes. And,
Okay.
if we have leads, we have Keith contact them directly and say, I
Great.
think they're working on something, you should talk to them. Just however, and he does his own lead generation as well. So
Yeah, he's pretty proactive. I
Okay.
think he's been going around talking to people. He did a big project for the hospital. He was involved with that. Okay. Any other questions about that, Aaron?
No.
Keith's a nice guy. He's been in the energy business a long time.
take it away, George.
How much time do we have here? Is there another meeting here tonight at all?
Well, now that's a dangerous way of asking a question.
Well, I mean, at 4 o'clock maybe, like a planning commission meeting.
No.
Do you want to talk about long-range planning for energy transition?
Do I?
Yeah, because I do.
I want to talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Okay, well.
Put these things on here at your behest, so I believe
Yeah.
the show is yours.
Well, it kind of occurs to me the city has a climate action plan process that it's undertaking, and that there is going to be, the result of that is going to be kind of strategies for reducing carbon content in our energy supply, and that part of that might be trying to generate some more local electricity generation within the town. I was just wondering if we should put some thought into how do we say that as a goal, maybe incorporate that into a goal of this commission, of the PUC, that yes, indeed, we are in favor of energy transition. If we think that's useful, and then, maybe thinking about some strategies for that. And the one I was thinking of is the possibility of a renewable energy fund that would be funded by a rate increase, a small rate increase.
And the fund would lend people money to do these projects, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I guess there's a couple of things that could happen. One is you could incentivize private individuals to put in renewable energy systems, energy storage systems, energy efficiency projects, or you could also use that money to fund a public, renewable energy project like the solar panels we put on the Public Works garage. So I wish Tim were here. We actually, that's why we waited. We've been trying to get all three of us here together.
Do you want to hold this over till our next meeting so he's here, or what do you
Yeah,
think?
probably eventually. Yeah. Well, okay. So Ann, you think that might be worth thinking about?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I just, if he's, if he's been involved in helping you discuss and plan this, I think it would be great to have him here.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I don't think it's really been discussed.
Okay.
Other than, G, long-range planning for energy transition. That's about as far as it's gone. Mike, do you see any kind of structure for kind of having that conversation? And, how can you recommend a way that the commission might address that issue?
Yes?
Okay, lay it on us.
No. I think it's
No.
worth spending some time preparing for a session like that, which I have not done for this meeting. So if you want to have a going into the meeting strategy, let's work on it before the meeting.
Okay, so we could do that for next meeting, and hopefully Tim will be here?
Right.
Okay. That
Maybe we
sounds-
should talk about what next meeting is going to be. We started that conversation a little earlier,
Mhm.
that April, the first week in April is probably not going to work, nor are the next 3 weeks in April. My suggestion would be we just wait until May. But the first Wednesday in May I might not be here. But you don't need me for this conversation. I'd be happy to help prepare it, and then other people can operate it.
Okay.
Or we can talk about a different date. We can pass that scheduling ideas around too.
Yeah, I'm not going to be around in early May either.
It's a
I
tough-
will be, but
Tough group.
does it matter?
Yeah, well,
I think it's a tough time of year.
well, how about the first week in April?
Just
I
not
won't be
Wednesday?
here.
Oh, you won't be here at all?
No,
The
Okay.
whole week?
the whole week.
Could, Okay, wow. May 15th? Will you be here on May 15th?
What day of the week is that?
That's a Wednesday, sorry.
Third Wednesday?
It is.
Why not second Wednesday?
I'll be gone. In fact, scratch that, I'll be gone the third Wednesday as well. 22nd?
And I'll be here.
Yeah, works for me.
Okay.
Is that May?
That was May, yes.
It is.
I guess I don't have to do minutes.
I mean, the nice thing about it is these are all kind of long-range conversations, so there's
Right.
not a pressing need to do it in the next 2 weeks. but-
Correct.
So same time,
Yeah,
22nd. Okay.
pencil that in. Of course, we'll have to check with Tim.
Okay, go on to renewable energy projects. There's a SIMPA meeting on April 26th that I plan on going to. They have a solar working group and an electric vehicle working group. They've been working on an electric vehicle incentive program, I think charging station incentive for members. So I'll go to that, and hopefully there might be some opportunity to incentivize some charging stations in our town. The other thing that SIMPA has is a program where they are allowing members to put in a certain amount of solar power that would be publicly owned on our system, and that's kind of the program we use to put the solar panels on the Public Works building.
Mhm.
It's up in the air if how much more of that we could do at this fairly good price that they're offering.
Hmm.
Kind of their general policy is that we can put in our own renewable energy projects if we'd like, but we have to sell that power back to them, and then they sell it back to us. It's an all needs contract, and they're only willing to buy it for rock bottom wholesale price, which is like 3.5 cents a kilowatt hour, which just makes it, really economically unviable. But they've created a certain amount of, they call it appetite, where they'll pay about 9 cents a kilowatt hour, a little less than 9 cents, and that's the program that we got in for the Public Works building. And there's some discussion about allowing communities to have a little bit more allocation of that. So that'll be discussed, and I guess I would like to consider putting in another small solar system in the city. If
In the
that's
same
available.
location?
Probably not, because I think we've kind of filled up the space on that roof.
The roof's pretty full.
Does it need
It's
to
a lot of
be
land, though.
roof as opposed to ground-based?
No,
Okay.
it can be anywhere. Yeah. So that's a little update. And then I guess, something I've been encouraging this commission to do is to endorse a federal carbon pricing legislation, actually. The PUC endorsed this policy about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. But now it's a specific piece of legislation, and I would like for you and Tim to pass a resolution of support for this particular piece of federal legislation. I was hoping Tim would be here today. I'm prepared to go through and kind of describe it and discuss it with you, but now I'm wondering if I'm happy to go ahead and do that, or we could wait till May.
Do you like to have presentations, or do you like to read? Or you
I
don't like either?
I like either, but I feel like it'd be nice to read about it and then hear what you want to do.
Okay.
And it'd be great if Tim was here, because then you'd only have to do it once.
Mhm.
Is there anything that you have that you were going to present that wasn't included in the links that were already sent out?
Well, yeah. The links, are a portal into a vast amount of information.
Right.
And my presentation is obviously a brilliant, concise synopsis of that vast amount of information. So, it's my take on it. But
I don't
no,
know how
there's
you can
nothing
turn that down.
particularly different. I mean, I guess
I'm happy to look at it if you would like to do it, George. I'm just saying if it would save your time to
Yeah.
do it once only, that might make more sense.
Well,
But
and I-
I'm happy to, I'm
No,
here.
I hear that, and I think it does need to be all three of us.
Yeah,
I'm disappointed.
right. Is there a time deadline for us to endorse it?
There is not, but
Okay.
I guess climate change makes me pretty nervous, and I'm getting more and more nervous as time goes on, and so I feel quite a bit of urgency with the issue. But I think today is probably not the day, so I think that let's put it off.
Okay.
Anything else? I think that brings us to the end of the agenda, and for the good of the order. Anything else for the good of the order? Hearing none, we're adjourned.
Makes it sound like a cult.
Yeah.
Well, Carl used to say that.
The good of the order,
What does that
okay.
even mean?